It's that time again. It's time for another Saturday night special where we talk about everything rockhounding related. Well, out here in Northeast Washington, we're having some weather. Yeah, it's kind of cold and snowy, and I've been getting some stuff done out here in the shop lately. Shop infrastructure. Just been running the diesel heater and just burning the diesel and making it pretty toasty out here. Toasty enough, tolerable, I kind of wish I was in Arizona right now. It's cold and snowy and icy and sometimes a little windy, but that's all right. The cold weather makes you appreciate the nice weather that much more. At least that's what I like to tell myself every December. We have a lot to kind of go over this week, so let's just hop right into it. Why postpone it? Lots of fun stuff to show you. My buddy James, who sometimes you see down in the comments down there, he sent me this lovely book. I'm a huge fan of the Roadside Geology series of books. He's out there in South Dakota. I have a feeling he sent me this to entice me to go out to South Dakota at some point, which I would love to do. I would love to head out to South Dakota. Very cool place. I haven't been out there in a rockhounding sense, so it'd be fun to go do that. A little Dakota loop out there, maybe. I don't know. Some of the states where you hear less about its rockhounding, when I look into it, I'm like, oh, there's so much stuff to go out there and explore. There's not enough hours in the day, not enough money for fuel. But maybe someday I'll be able to hit all the places I want to hit. Wow, the gifts that I received in the mail this past week, the rocks. It's absolutely some incredible material. I put some more in a Riker case similar to that right there. A couple of people had questions about stuff like, what am I going to do with all the faceted stones? Well, for right now, one thing I want to do with them is I want to open them up, look at them under the microscope, learn some stuff from these. I'll probably put them in another Riker case and not leave them in the sink. Yeah, it's not the prettiest, right? But for making sure things don't get lost and stuff, it works pretty well for that. Still kind of in the process of examining some of it. Some of the specimens of the Tschernichite that are mounted up, and to see Rudy's little handwritten labels. Now, if you're not aware, if you didn't go watch it, these are specimens from the collection of Rudy Tschernich's, the author of Zeolites of the World, from the type locality that these are found. And I have some in the collection now. A big subject we're going to be talking about tonight is going to be photos, magnification, a lot of things. So we're going to kind of touch on some of those later, but I did manage to take some better photos of those, and we'll be getting into that. But first, let's look at what these things are. That's the shape. Pretty awesome to see some of the stuff in this book, and then see them, well, in person, But I'm still having a little bit of a hard time taking some photos of these very, very tiny but highly reflective specimens. That's like something that I got to work on, and I have some things in store that will definitely help with that. The bolos that were sent. So this is carnelian from Klamath, Washington. Beautiful. I want to put new strings on these. I know I could do it myself, but I run the risk of having too many projects. I got to really not take on too many things. And then this one is marcasite, that's not something I'm really familiar with. I'm I'm fairly good with my identification if I have the location. Without the location, there's obviously things that are dead ringers, but man, location is king in the world of identification. This past week as well, I got a comment about what somebody should get for like a kid that's kind of getting into rocks and minerals for Christmas. Now, this is a subject we talked about last year, and I'm a firm believer that the wrong gift to get somebody is a rock tumbler. Do not get somebody a rock tumbler, especially a kid. It's not the hobby for most kids. You know, you see like the instructions that come with rock tumblers, and they're like, stage 1, a week, stage 2, a week, stage 3, a week, stage 4, a week, polished rocks. That never, ever happens, okay? I'm not a big into rock tumbling. I got rid of my rock tumbling stuff. I don't have the patience for it. But if you go look at somebody's channel who is, example, Michigan Rocks, Jeremiah or Ragnar, those two guys, you never see them doing 4-week batches because rocks come out looking bad. I mean, when I think of, I don't have kids, but when I think of things for a kid, something that requires a lot of patience and a lot of cleaning, don't really make it into the idea of gift category. However, now this might be way too late in the game, probably should have done this earlier. These geodes from Morocco, yeah. These are very thin-walled geodes, and you can smash them. Now, I know if I was a kid, well, I guess maybe if I was even right now, these are awesome because you can easily just crack them with a hammer, and they look really gorgeous on the inside, very sparkly. These two, me and Sarah actually bought these on one of our first kind of like, I guess, outdoorsy adventures together to Central Oregon years and years and years ago. We got these at the Peterson's Rock Garden before, well, they closed up. Yeah, and then we broke these in a campground up by Lake Plena down there in, I guess, yeah, Central Oregon. So very fun. You know, it's instant gratification of smashing stuff. So my recommendation is if you have a kid that's kind of like into rocks, things that you can just break and they're awesome would seem like a good direction to go, maybe. One thing I've wanted to do for a while is actually starting to happen somewhat, and that is some fun community building and real life community building. So this past week, me and a bunch of local rockhounds, we got together and met up and grabbed a drink and hung out, and it was a lot of fun. And I got to meet somebody new, this guy Jake, and Jake brought with him some chunky crystals, to say the least. You know, if you go back a little bit, or if you're watch all the videos here, me and Sarah, we were up at Solo Creek, and you know, we got like little tiny guys. Well, Jake, he found some monsters up there, you know, and that's where these are from, and he was kind enough to give me a couple. Look at that. I think this one could be cleaned up more, but that's a point. I think we can soak this guy. But yeah, that's very cool. Very, very cool. Man, what a beauty. I think over this week, I'll probably throw these in some iron out and see if we can't get some of that discoloration out of it. I think that would look excellent if we could do that. You know, I would highly recommend anybody out there try to just, you know, like meet up with your fellow rockhounds. I mean, in whatever way you can do it, you know. It's always fun to make those connections, hang out with people, talk shop, all of that, you know. There's so much to learn. And hey, who knows, you might be able to see some really, really, really big, big crystals. Well, on to the subject of tonight. I would like to talk a little bit about taking photos of things. All these things that we have here, these different rocks, minerals, you know. I think for the most part, I've thought a lot about this. Now, I'm not a photographer. I'm kind of a videographer. I can take a consistent C+ photo, and I think that's pretty good. But for most people, I think buying special stuff, buying like little clip-on macro lenses and buying digital microscopes and stuff is not the thing that you need. I think what everybody needs, they kind of already have, and that is this, the phone. You're watching this on, you're watching it on whatever, but it's being recorded on a cell phone. And a cell phone is something, if you have a phone, right, I mean, like the past 5 years, well, that's all you really need, okay? You got what you need. Add to that a tripod and a light, and lighting is everything, okay? I don't have a very expensive or fancy light. I'm going to clip it off of here right now, and I'm going to show it to you, okay? So, this is the light that I just took off of my tripod. I want to say this thing's like $25, all right? So, like, you have brightness, intensity, and temperature on the back. And it just has a big clip, big, almost like potato chip bag clip, and clipping it on to my tripod is usually how I have it. But when we pick something as an example, we'll take some photos of this, this Dugway Thunder Egg. You can see that lighting makes all the difference. Having a stable picture and, well, you know, your light matters. So I would recommend everybody just use their phone. When it comes to observing, not taking photos, but just observing tiny things like that Tschernichite or whatever, for the most part, unless you really are game into taking photos, a simple jeweler's loupe is what you really need. Okay, this is the method. Can we do it here? No, I'm not gonna. You know, the problem with these is you really need a to get it just right, and it's really hard looking through a camera. But the right lighting, your eye, it'll be awesome for you. Step up from that, because, you know, sometimes you have both hands that you need to use this thing, right? Put it on your head, look like a total dork, but it magnifies really well. This one's got this, like, the flip down, so like some different powers, you know. Kind of cool. Pretty cool, very affordable. Generally these lights on them are dinky as can be, but, you know, whatever. These two things will get you really far into you having a better understanding of rocks and minerals. When it comes to taking good photos of tiny stuff, you'll notice if you use macro lenses that attach to phones, that all of the photos are always out of focus on the perimeter of the picture. Now, that may not be a deal breaker for you. It might be. Generally, people looking at things over on your phone, the picture is so big and it's been squeezed down to a smaller size, if you will, and it looks good. But once you start looking at it full size, you start to see all of the blurriness and all of the ickiness involved. So understanding that you get what you pay for in photography, and you want to take really good photos on the macro scale, you got to be ready to pony up some money. Now, many of you have already seen I have a microscope. In the past, I have used this camera right here, this MU1000, And this is just a, plugs into USB, and I would control it with my computer. So we're going to look at a couple of images here. So we have this one, and now I have my 70D fully operating with my microscope. So let's look at a picture. Now this is a stack, okay? One of the things that you can do with software is take, like, let's just say 18 images of something very, very small like that. And you have such a narrow depth of focus, and you change that throughout the distance, okay? And the software stitches all of those images together, so you don't get any blurriness around the edge. And right now you're looking at a picture, the best picture I could take of some cliniptolite with this little camera right here, the little MU-1000. And it's not bad. Like, you can see what it is, okay? And that's produced optically and not digitally. Now, if we look at an image taken with the 70D, it looks a lot better. If we kind of go back and forth some between those two, one is clearly better. Now, if we do some post-processing on that image from the 70D, it looks really good. I would say that's like a C+, maybe a B grade photo, okay? Once again, it's that relationship between how much money you spent versus the image that you can get. There's a big difference between high-quality imagery and what is required to identify stuff. That's a big thing. Like, what's the intention, A lot of digital microscopes have very low quality optics, or like a movable bezel that you change like focus, but they're all, for the most part, digitally zoomed. Now, if we take the image that you're seeing right here and we just start to zoom in, you'll start to see that it gets progressively more blurry, because what it's happening is we're taking the pixels on the image and we're just making them bigger. And that's why optical zooms will always beat a digital zoom. And there you go. I have some things in the works for taking even better photos. The photos of the Tschernichite were taken with the 70D versus the MU. I can't, I want to take really lovely photos, and I mean, I'm not a big photography expert, but I'm trying to get there, and I'm not going to go crazy into the macro photography, because a lot of this stuff, like, you can get nuts. You want to go spend $10,000 on your setup, custom built rigs and stuff, it gets expensive, right? Tons of spacers and billows and servo stepper motor controlled like motion. What am I even trying to say? Where the camera will move in and down, up and down, or your specimen moves up and down. Like, man, you can really, people have some crazy setups. I don't think most people need that. I think your phone is probably the end point for most people. Once you start blowing up those images, you want to make a poster, well, you'll start to see the flaws in your system, I think. We don't really engage with all of these things, though, like that anymore. Little things, even here, can be appreciated with just a simple phone. These diamonds, I've been wanting to make a Mohs hardness kit, not for like use, but just like, the all 10 of them. And now I have some diamonds, so I can start putting some of that together in a little box or something. I think that would be really nice. Yeah, at some point here, you let me know down below in a comment if you would like to see my kind of like mineral identification station. I've done a whole bunch of work up there, and I can kind of give you a little bit of a tour of it. It's looking pretty good. I'm very happy with it. I think in closing tonight, I would like to say, I regret not knowing more about Rudy's life. And it's a story that I don't know if anybody's ever going to tell. I hope somebody that knew him personally would write something up about him so that everybody can know about all of the amazing things that he accomplished and was into. Yeah, until then, I mean, I'm just going to kind of follow in his footsteps, go to the places he went to, learn what I can, try to put together the puzzle pieces. Yeah, I think we're going to leave this one here, everybody. I appreciate each and every one of you coming by, hanging out with me in the shop, listening to what I have to say. And you know what? I'll catch you in the next video. This week I got something big that I would like to share, so stay tuned for that.